Hello, boys and girls. This is Aunt Fernita, and I have a wonderful story for you called The Poor Widow's Offering. Today's memory verse is from 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 7. It says, God loves a cheerful giver. The message for today's story is we worship God when we give cheerfully. Have you ever watched how people give their offerings in church? How do you think it happened in Jesus' time? Jesus was sitting with his disciples in the temple, watching people bring their offerings. In those days, people took their offerings to the temple court and dropped them into collection boxes. There were many rich people in Jerusalem. They lived in nice houses and wore fancy clothes. They also had plenty to eat. After they paid for their nice houses and fancy clothes and good food, they would take some of the money they had left to the temple for an offering. Dressed in their finest clothes, they would go to the temple when they knew a lot of people would be there. After looking around to make sure people were watching them, they would pour their money into the collection boxes. They liked it when their money made a lot of noise. And they liked it when people turned to see who had put so much money into the collection box. They hoped people were whispering, "Look, see how much offering that person brought? He certainly is generous." Jesus knew that those rich people brought only what was left over after they had purchased all the things they wanted. He knew that they had not given up a single thing. They had not gone hungry or done without fancy clothes. They had not sacrificed. Then Jesus noticed a woman at the collection box. He knew that her husband had died and that she was a widow. Many times she had no food to eat. The woman looked around to see if anyone was watching. She was very embarrassed because she could only bring a very tiny offering. When she thought no one would see her, she slipped 2 tiny coins into the collection box and hurried away. But Jesus had seen her. He had seen the 2 tiny coins she slipped into the offering box. Jesus said to his disciples, "This poor widow has put in more than all the others. She has given all that she has." All that she had, all of her money. As the widow heard Jesus' words, tears of joy filled her eyes. She had no money to buy bread for dinner, but she was happy to give an offering to God. Although her offering was tiny, she gave more than all the others because she gave it cheerfully and out of love for God.
This podcast was brought to you by Gracelink.net and Studio El Piso in Singapore. For more children's resources, please visit Gracelink.net.